they didn't realize how perceptive that us gamers are. It's like that was kind of one of the radars that went up. We just like, no, this ain't right.
The logic is horrible. It's like don't give women guns because they won't be able to tell if men are raping them. What?
Oh yeah, Representative Salazar said that in Colorado. I was there.
I call that Tumblr logic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
an oxymoron.
One of the reasons that I love Gamergate is just these people. They don't take the spoon that's being fed them. They've researched. They know their stuff. They know what they believe. They stick by it. They're not going to be bullied, and they're not going to be told what to believe. I love that about this group, and I haven't really seen that outside of political circles. I have not. I mean, you see all these people who watch something in the news and they're like, well, that's the way it is. And gamers aren't like that. They see something in the news and they're like, okay, what's the rest of the story?
Well, we don't have any ideology to answer to. No, all we want is we don't have any ideology we have to answer to or anything we follow. It's like we just want to fucking play games. We just want to play video games, and we don't want some fucking San Francisco hipster looking down his nose at us, thinking that we're subhuman just because we play video games. I think that's where a lot of the anger comes from.
Games you like.
Yeah, we get to pick which games we like. We don't want a moral guardian telling us that we're horrible people because of Metal Gear Solid 5 having a woman being tortured in it. And that was funny earlier today, whatever. Fucking Jonathan McIntosh
it's another one of those things that it's telling a story, and horrible things happen in certain stories. You can't tell the same story over and over again and not switch it up a little bit. And that's again gaming. You don't really find that too many other places. Where the PC crowd hasn't touched it yet.
Yeah, it's like there's the emotional impact of games. It's like they don't. It's like these whole. I'm pretty sure we're probably tired of hearing the term. But these whole social justice warriors. They don't want stuff that makes them feel uncomfortable. Yeah. They don't want to read stuff that makes them feel uncomfortable. They don't want to be around anything that makes them get out of their own head.
Well, let me get in here, guys, because I got to run. The last thing I'll say about social justice, and anybody that claims that they're in favor of quote unquote social justice is someone who is against actual justice because it's a modifier of justice. So my last word on this is a title of a post that Milo put on Breitbart. It said the authoritarian left was on course to win the culture wars, then along came Gamergate.
I love it.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yes.
He's a good guy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. I got to run.
Adam, I love being on here with you, man. Thank you so much.
I love gamers. God bless.
Thank you.
See you later, buddy.
You too.
Love you too.
Have a good night.
Bye. I'm going to say one final thing too, and it's something that recently she recently had to get off because she didn't want her family to be in danger. But Lizzie F620 said something really profound, and I thought it was really great. Offense is taken, but it's not necessarily given. It's
right.
not intended. You take it how you perceive it. All right. Now, if you're taking everything as offensive, then that's your problem, not ours.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a slippery slope. It's like if one thing is offensive and you get a game or a book or a whatever movie or film banned, it's like what's the next thing that's going to be offensive?
Exactly.
And before nobody wants to do shit.
There are people who make a career out of it now, being perpetually offended, and that's the thing about it. Is something that you take, and it is something that if you're looking for a reason to be offended, chances are you can find it, and it really doesn't matter if what I said was white girls are short or the sky is a little gray today. If you're looking for a reason to be offended, you'll find it. And
well, I said something earlier, or I said something the other day, and it wasn't meant to harm. It wasn't offensive at all. But I said the Mexicans tend to like their food this way. That's all I said. And somebody, like within the group I was talking to, got really uncomfortable. It's like, you just like what? What? They are Mexicans. They are Mexicans. They're from Mexico. This is how they prefer their food. This isn't me saying, "Oh, them Mexicans," and then saying something horribly, racist. This is just me saying this is how they prefer their. But that's the kind of culture we live in, and that's the kind of culture these people push. Is that
I don't think Mexicans eat like American.
It's a ridiculous thing because now you're putting everyone on eggshells. No one can really speak their mind. This is not the kind of culture I want to live in. This is not the kind of media I want to participate in. This is not how I want to live my life. I want freedom. I want freedom. I want the freedom to say what I want. I want the freedom to play what I want, to view what I want. And I mean, this is, again, my right libertarianism saying, let me sum it up for you guys as best I can. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone and let me play my games.
Exactly.
Jesus. It's like not everything has to be as the world turns drama.
Exactly. But
holy crap!
I got to take off now too. But thank you so much, Virginia, for having me on.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in anytime.
Well, thank you for hearing us out, for hearing the Gamergate side of things. Not many people are doing that. And
it's definitely refreshing.
Again, to repeat, Adam, gamers, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Keep on doing it.
All right. Well,
take it easy.
Brandon, thanks again. Yep. And Michael, if you want to stay on for the last couple minutes, you're welcome. We've just been talking about kind of some inside baseball on Gamergate, but also why it matters to people who aren't gamers. And we were talking about this idea that if they think that the gaming community is important enough to infiltrate, then we should think that it's important, because even if we're not gamers, they're affecting people that we know, our kids, our friends, the people who are going to be in charge in 20 years. These are the people who are getting who are being influenced by this. And
the thing is about that is, like, we're raising a generation of people that got trophies for just showing up.
Yep.
It's like there's no merit to their actions. Yep. It's like, and the prime example of that is, do you remember that story a couple of weeks ago, it might have been a month or two ago, of whenever those college students in Oberlin, Ohio, wanted a free pass for their classes because they were out protesting?
Yes, I do remember that.
And that's like, and that's widespread. I mean, majority of your college campuses are like mostly liberal, more than others anyway. But it's like it went from just liberal to just complete authoritarian, just to where you've got professors that are trying to inject that kind of thinking into people, and they're releasing them into the real world. And they get out in the real world, and it's like, life don't work like that, and then they end up jaded and angry, and it's like there's this whole era of just uncomfortable behavior, and if they do end up in a position of power, they abuse it, and that's what we're seeing right now, is we're seeing tantruming children that got trophies for just showing up, and they're being took to task to produce results.
Now, and I was very lucky. I didn't go back to. I spent some time in the military and went back to school after that. So I graduated at the age of 35 finally.
You definitely got a lesson in life. You kind of like, you're probably around the same age as me, aren't you? I'm 33.
I'm 35, and so I just graduated actually in May with dual degrees in political science and history. And so, you go to the history department, and they're definitely trying to peddle a kind of a revisionist history. And you don't hear a lot of actual history. You hear like the new version of, and
you hear anecdotal
because,
history is what I call it.
Right. And I was very, very lucky because I took these political science classes, and I was expecting them to be very liberally minded, and I don't know how I did it, but at a very liberal state university in Illinois, I found the only conservative professors probably in the entire state. I took constitutional law from a libertarian. How lucky was that? And I had American political thought from a guy who skews further right than I do, which is if you ever come and listen to my show, that's very difficult to do. I'm definitely on the right side of right. So it was very interesting that I was able to find these professors and kind of pick their brains. And then, of course, I did end up in a class with one lady who I was comparing Ronald Reagan's foreign policy to Machiavelli, this idea that, hey, you don't want people to love you. You want people to be afraid of you because that's how you stay on top. It's great if they'll do both. If they know that you're willing to act when you need to, and they're afraid of that, a healthy fear of that. And it's great if they like you too, but if you can only have one, always choose fear. And she was ready to implode because you could tell by the expression on her face. She did not want to admit that I was right, and she did not want to admit that Ronald Reagan might have been right about something. So it was definitely an interesting experience. But hey, we're actually getting ready to wrap up the show here, and it was really great to have you on. I mean it when I say anytime you want to call in. I'm always here on Mondays, and we usually tweet it out before the show. So
cool.
But
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. It's the WTF magazine.
Right.
Y'all can't miss me. I've got
magazine. Yep,
the WTF magazine, and I'm all the time right there in the mix in the Gamergate tag. I'm
awesome.
trying to add
we will be sure to follow you. And for the other guests that were on tonight, at the Brandon Morse, at Adam Baldwin, and then I am at Virginia Kruta. Join us next weekend for more of Stovetop Politics. I'm sure we'll come back to Gamergate at some point, and we'll be chatting about, a little bit of everything like we do every week. So have a great week, guys, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
On board to take a slumber, I dreamt of golden jewels, and for sure it was no wonder. But Jenny drew me charges, and she blew them up with water, and sent poor Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Assuring that I'm due out of da. Quack ball the daddy-o, quack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. 'Twas early in the morning, before I rose to travel, up comes a band of footmen, and likewise Captain Farrell. I then produced my pistol, for she stole